there's one thing we know about horses, it is the lengthy process of diagnosing illness, lameness and other health-related issues with the vets. Not to mention the initial cost of diagnosing the problem before we even get into ongoing treatment options and the ongoing fees associated with that. With that daunting prospect in mind, many horse owners, including myself, choose to take out horse insurance to protect ourselves and our horses should we ever need it. But with so many options, intricacies and opinions about horse insurance, how do you know where to start and what to do? In this series, I've partnered with SEIB Insurance Brokers to give you everything you need to know. Over the course of 3 episodes, we chart the hypothetical year of a first-time horse owner like myself, taking you from buying and insuring your first horse to accidents, claims and rehabbing, and finally to insurance premiums and renewals. This is essentially everything that I wish I'd been told before I became a horse owner, and I'm really excited to be partnering with the experts to share it with you. Let's dive straight in. This is episode 1, buying and insuring your first horse. Steph, thank you so much for joining me for this series and this conversation. Do you want to give us a little insight into who you are and what you do?
Hello, I'm Steph Ellis. I'm the Equestrian Service Manager at SEIB, taking care of all our existing equestrian clients, and I'm lucky enough to have had horses all my life.
Let's start with the basics. What is horse insurance and why might somebody choose to take it out?
So horse insurance is there essentially to protect you in the event of your horse becoming ill, having an accident or an injury, and it helps towards the cost of veterinary fees for the treatment of those, as well as providing cover for worst case scenario.
There are so many types of insurance on the market and so many people you can get insurance from, SEIB being one of them. It can be really overwhelming. I certainly found it that way when I was looking. How do you know where to start and what type of insurance you might even need?
Initially, you have to think about what activities you're going to be using the horse for, the protection that you need against what you're going to be doing. You can start off with really basic insurance, which would cover you for the death of the animal, for example, and then you can add on whichever cover you need, really. So we offer different levels of veterinary fee cover with a wide range of different excesses. You can add loss of use cover, which would be more for your competition horses. For example, if you purchased a show jumper, the loss of use cover would reimburse a percentage of the horse's value if it was to get injured and never be able to be used for the activities that you purchased it for example. So you can literally pick and choose what's important for you to make sure you're as protected as possible.
Let's say you're buying your first horse. There are certain conditions that raise red flags when it comes to insurance. So what would you say about a horse that you know has got either splints, maybe they've got sarcoids? Are those kinds of things stuff that we should be worrying about, or actually are they manageable from an insurance point of view?
There could be lots of things that would be picked up within the vetting. It could be conformational problems, splints as you say, sarcoids is another really common one to be picked up. And ultimately it depends on the vet's opinion whether that particular problem could cause a problem in the future or if it's not really something to worry about. The opinion from a vet may differ slightly from insurance, purely for the reason that we're protecting from any potential future risk, whereas a vet might think, oh, that's fine, you know, it's got a splint, it's settled down, it's not going to cause a problem. So there's lots of different things, but my advice would be to listen to your vet. And also when you're on the phone to us, our team have all got horses, and you know it's a good thing just to have that conversation with us, and we can apply our own personal experience to that.
Yeah, someone who gets it.
Yeah, and give you as much advice as possible.
Okay, so actually then people are coming to you really either after maybe a first viewing where they're like, oh, I quite like this horse, or before they've even viewed a horse to say, I'm spending this much, I'm going to be eventing, I'm da-da-da-da-da, so that they know the kind of things to look out for. That's interesting.
Yeah, and I think it's a really good idea to do that because no one wants to spend more money than you need to, and you know, if they have that conversation with them, we can tell them exactly what we will need. Another really important thing to bear in mind and ask the question on is what format the company would need the x-rays in, for example, which then we would send off to get assessed. So it's really important that you make sure that you're getting the right things done.
Okay, great. So, Steph, I've got the horse that I liked, I've done the viewings, I've got all the feels, I've done my vetting. What do I do next? When do I need to insure?
You'd need to insure the horse as soon as he becomes your responsibility financially. Get that done straight away. It may be before you've had the vetting done, which is fine. We can just provide restricted cover until we get that information that we need. It's really important to consider getting that insurance as soon as possible.
I know also a lot of insurance policies have a 14-day window from when you actually take the policy out to when it actually comes into effect, and that makes it even more important that you insure as soon as possible. Could you tell me a little bit more about that 14-day window?
Yeah, of course. From the date when our policies start, there is a 14-day accident and injury only period before the full sickness, illness and disease cover would kick in. Yes, there is a pre-existing clause on insurance, but we prefer to be really clear with our clients from day one. So that 14-day window just gives us enough time to get that information in, get it assessed, and obviously with the initial cover that's provided, as you mentioned, a lot of companies do, that will always be restricted to accidents and injuries only.
You mentioned a couple of things there that I just want to dive into a bit more. Pre-existing conditions and exclusions. Could you tell us what they mean and why we should care about them?
Yeah, absolutely. So your pre-existing conditions typically are things that would be picked up on a vetting. So for example, the example you gave earlier of sarcoids. So when the vet does the vetting, he might note that there's a sarcoid on the horse. That would be something that's been present before the insurance cover has been taken out, and that wouldn't be something that would be covered under the policy. We could just say, well, it's pre-existing to the policy terms, it's not covered. We like to be specific and make you aware that anything in relation to sarcoids wouldn't be covered on the insurance going forwards. So when we make that clear to our clients and we specify what would be excluded on the policy, it basically would mean that would be something that you wouldn't be able to claim for anything in connection with or relating to that exclusion. So sarcoids, for example.
Thanks, Beth. In the next episode, we're going to dive into what happens if you have an accident or an injury with your horse and you need to make a claim. What that could look like and how you actually get that claim started, and then the rehabbing process. If you have any other questions on horse insurance, trailer or horsebox insurance, freelance insurance or any other equine related insurance questions, head to scib.co.uk. The link is in the description. It's really handsome in the background. Okay, right. Companies, and I found this out when I was looking for my first horse. Hi everyone.
He's going back in.
False alarm, false alarm.
Not.
Oh, what a lovely little whinny in the background. Rehabbing might look like that for, might look like that for.
Our clients for a percentage of the value of that.
I'm going to laugh, I don't want to interrupt her because she's in the middle of a flow. Oh, you're the right character, don't you?
Oh, it's got to be an outtake one for us.